This podcast is not intended to usurp or undermine the authority of your spiritual leadership. Our aim is to support the spiritual growth of our listeners.
I mean, that's who we are.
That is who we are, followers of Jesus.
I'm in a sweat.
Yep.
That was wonderful. You guys are blowing my mind right now. I have two more questions. I don't want to keep you all night, but I have two questions that I really want all three of you to talk about because I hear it a lot. I shouldn't say I hear it a lot, but it's online quite a bit. It's all this subject on church hurt. And it's a word that I really haven't heard until, I shouldn't say recently, but it seems like a new thing that
I haven't heard it until tonight.
See?
It's out there.
So there's a lot of people that have been hurt by people in the church when they mean church hurt. And then they, make excuses that's why they don't go to church or that's why they backslid and everything. And Pastor, you talked about this is how the footpath soil.
Yeah.
You become hard because of the hurt,
Abuse.
pain,
Yeah.
and all that.
That was good.
It was very good.
That was good.
Very good. And so my question is, how do people legitimately and people that just got offended because their feelings got hurt, how do they move on from that hurt, reconcile back to God and to his church?
Forgiveness. That's you just have to keep forgiving. And that's the only way to keep your heart tender. You have to grab what Jesus said on Calvary. This is the only way you get there. He hangs there. These people have intentionally crucified him. Mm-hmm. They've had meetings over crucifying him. They've made a plan to beat his back and nail him to a tree. They didn't just randomly nail him to a tree.
Right.
They didn't just randomly plant a crown of thorns. They didn't randomly slap his face and pull his beard. They intentionally did all. We would say they planned it.
Yeah.
He hangs there, and he says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." When we deal with hurt, it's because we think they meant to do it on purpose. They meant to do that to me. Forgiveness is to say they don't really realize, not that they don't realize what they're doing, they don't realize the consequences of what they're doing and the hurt they've administered. And when you can follow Jesus to Calvary, and in the midst of your pain, look at the people who are hurting you, wounding you, trampling on you, abusing you, taking advantage of you, and say, "Father, forgive them, for they don't really realize what they're doing." You're on your way to breaking up hardness of heart.
Yeah.
It is not easy.
Is that a one-time thing?
No, absolutely. I'm still forgiving guys from when I was a kid.
Yeah. So it's a continual process.
Yeah.
Is there?
There's another aspect I think that you need to consider.
Yes.
And that's true. The bottom line is getting to this place. In that same prayer in Acts 4, about being threatened not to preach and teach. In the introductory remarks of the prayer to get them to be to the place where they can ask God for an outcome that's the will of God, they state emphatically, I think it's a revelation should be for the reader, because it's a revelation of how Simon Peter is a different guy who, just not too long before, he was saying, "I'll go with you to prison and to death."
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now in the opening part of that prayer, to let them keep having boldness, he states categorically that all of this was ordained of God.
Yes.
And then he quotes the Old Testament prophecy of the Psalm prophecy about these. Why do the heathen rage and imagine vain things? And they've all conspired to kill the Christ, which was perfectly according to the will of God. Yeah. So the suffering that he went through was ordained of God for God's purpose.
Yes.
And they bring themselves in alignment with that, because before this, they're ready to fight to prevent it from happening. But now they're happy that it happened. They understand they're full of Jesus' Spirit. He's living now in through them. And so I think maybe part of the forgiveness journey is a tough place where you come to the spot where you might be able to say, Lord, help me see that this was really, you knew it was going to happen to me, and you let it happen to me. And it's another example of all things working together for good.
Yeah.
I don't have to understand it completely, but you understand it completely. And so I agree with that. And I thank you for the damage that was done, and I'm trusting you for the healing that's coming out of it. You know?
This would be the first type of Christ, Joseph, or the second type of Christ, Joseph. You meant it unto me for evil.
Yeah.
God meant it unto me for good. That is a hard place to
But
come
the
to.
difference in that, to me, is that Joseph remained with God. And so therefore he was able then to come, you see, in the end through, because he kept faithful to God during the whole thing.
Right.
And from my understanding, your aspect of some of these people is they're not coming, they're not touching God anymore because, whether people meant it intentional. Most people don't mean it intentional. There are people that hurt you just because they want to.
Sure.
But most people in general don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to me, I still come back to the more practical side of it. What Pastor's trying to bring this church to is a healing and a safe place that people can feel like, and also with the understanding, because I get this a lot with people at the center, is, the wheats and the tares are there. No matter what church you go to, no matter what denomination you go to, it's there.
Yeah.
That's not going to change. God doesn't change, but you will find safe and healing people that are being used by God that you can trust, that will lead you to feel safe enough to come back, then lead you through the process of where you can reach that place. Because it does, ultimately it boils down to you have to forgive, but it's a process.
Yes.
Will I ever give them the bag of money again? Maybe not.
Right.
Right.
And it doesn't always mean reconciliation either. And we say often that, just because we forgive, we have to be reconciled.
Yes.
Sometimes that's not possible.
True.
And then, but hopefully it can be, but not always.
Nope.
But forgiveness, it's a process, and it takes time, and those things like you're experiencing keep coming up, little triggers that remind you, and you have to go back to prayer again. So I think what he's leading the church to, be a safe place, be a healing place, not a judging place, and allow people space. And just love them, because that's lacking.
That's what Jesus is doing to us.
Right. And it's just such, and how are they going to know that if they don't see it in his people?
Yeah.
Great question.
That's so true.
And I mean, it's got to be through his people, and then we bring them to that altered place and that relationship, and then they start to develop it and grow it for themselves.
I think we have a misunderstanding of forgiveness to some degree. You've brought it up here. We act like forgiveness means we come back to this and I trust him again. No. I got people I'm asking God to forgive. I'll never trust him till the day I die.
Right.
But forgiveness is what Jesus and Stephen did. Don't hold it against them, Lord, in eternity. Wash their record clean. But I will never trust that person again.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they have to earn it back.
Well, and that they'll spend their life trying to earn it back. And like you can't reconcile some people. The damage has been too deep or too long term. There's no But I can pray, don't hold it against them, Lord. I'll never be in close harmony again, but don't hold it against them.
Right.
I'm glad you said that, because there are people that will listen to this that have been abused by church leaders sexually, and they may get the misconcept of I need to reconcile, come close to that person. And we're not saying that at all.
No way.
We're not saying that at all. We're saying you need to forgive them. It was a horrible act.
And I would go a step further in that illustration.
Yes.
If they've been abused by church leadership as a child, we need to go to law.
Yeah.
We need to take that. They need to.
There are consequences.
The scripture is not light. Jesus is not light on the abusing of children.
Yes.
This one takes on just a little bit different taint. He says it'd be better you millstone hung around your neck, you toss in the sea. If their abuse came as they were a child, there are other factors that need to play into this individual who did that. So
Right.
I just need to make sure the record demonstrates that.
I'm glad you said that, Pastor, because there are a lot of people that they hold that in.
Yeah.
And they feel shame about it
And guilt.
and guilt.
And
Yeah.
they shouldn't, but they do.
Right. And that's part of that forgiveness side, is forgiving them. And is there an element of forgiving yourself
Yes.
when it comes to those things?
Yeah, it's a strange, and I'm sure you deal with this, it's a strange thing. People who've been abused, they deal with this concept, what did I do to cause them to do this to me? It is so strange, but it is very real.
Yeah.
And there is a process where God has to lead them to a place of saying, it's not me who caused this. This person had a problem in their
Yeah.
life.
Yep.
And I'm sure you walk with this time and again with the people you minister to.
Yeah.
And I do as well.
When we got to Zambia, we met some missionaries from another organization. And this was in, it was 86, 87. And things were so wild and crazy in the capital city in those days. I mean, crime was just everywhere. Armed robbery and home invasions, etc. Anyway, they ended up breaking into their home and they beat the man mercilessly. And when they had him beaten and out, they raped his wife, the Wister's wife.
And the kids were there too.
So they took a while for them to heal physically. I think they went home for a short furlough, and then they came back to Zambia and picked up the work and kept going.
Wow.
You know, some
I'm
people,
stunned.
they would never go back.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So it's just,
Wow. That stuns me.
Yes.
you know, it's like what Elizabeth.
Yeah, I know you're talking
Yeah,
about.
with the Auca Indians
Yes.
in South America.
Who killed her husband.
Elizabeth
She went back
Elliot.
and won the guy
Yes.
that killed her husband.
Yes.
Wow.
That's, I am not there. I am not there. I still want to hurt
Well,
her.
you're not there. You're here in Blaine. Just kind of like it.
I love it.
He's still working on me.
Me too. That's rough. Last question, and I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
Thank you for being patient with me today. Pastor, you said this phrase, and you told us to write it down. So I wrote it down.
Yep.
I was being obedient.
Oh.
It says, the most important thing about me is not what I have achieved or are achieving, but the person I'm becoming
By the grace of God.
by the grace of God. We are, and I don't know if you two are on social media all the time, but in the social media world and TikTok and Instagram world, it is all about what you're achieving. The cars, the houses, the money, who you know. Why is it so important in the becoming instead of the achieving?
Our whole culture is about achieving.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we measure whether you're successful or not. Meanwhile, many of these quote unquote successful people are poverty stricken in their souls. And they live lives behind the scenes of suicide, depression. They're taking pills like you cannot believe to try to stabilize themselves to just live life.
Yeah.
The greatest thing you can have in life is not a possession. It is a whole soul. W-H-O-L-E. A soul that is that your whole being is in harmony with the God who is saving you. Riches can come and go, but when you are right with Him and you are right with yourself, there is no greater peace and no greater joy. And so, as is the trick of the enemy all the time, he gets our eyes focused on the phony.
Yeah.
But often those people are all going to counseling. Often those people are trying to get help. from multiple sources because their soul is craving God and they're trying to satisfy it with these other things that momentarily do. You know what? When I'm feeling despondent, if I go get a bucket of ice cream and eat ice cream, I feel good about myself for a while until I realize how much I put on. But then it all comes back.
Right.
The ice cream does not do away with the problem.
Right.
The alcohol does not do away with the problem. The drug does not do away with the problem. The nice, let's buy a bigger house.
Yeah.
Let's buy a different car. And I'm not opposed to a bigger house or a nicer car. No, that's not the issue. But where's your soul at?
Yes.
If you're substituting that stuff for emptiness of the soul, you will never satisfy it with those things.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the HV Church podcast. We hope this episode encouraged and inspired you in your walk with God. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and feel free to share this podcast with a friend or family member who might need to hear it. If you want to learn more about HV Church or connect with us, visit hvchurch.com or follow us on our social media pages. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.